Good morning. It's Mal. I'm honored.
Hi.
Hey, Maalavidaa. Nice to meet you and have you on the show with us today.
Of course. Hi, Mal. I love that we are Mal and Mal right now. So this is kind of a full circle moment. So thank you for having me. Really
No,
appreciate it.
thanks for coming. I've known about you and been watching your journey for some time. On Nifty Gateway, it being our first entry point into NFTs, and so just to finally be able to talk to you and thanks Ross and Fan3 for the introduction. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Alycia, first of all. I am a half French, half Italian, 26-year-old lady for now, but I'm going to be 27 in a few months. So there's that. I am actually based in Montreal right now, and I am a former graphic designer and digital artist now, and also founder of Heal the Deal, Metaverse's emotional support club. So that's pretty much what I do right now of my life, and that's a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, it's that's probably very little sleep. And when you think about
Yes.
mental health and all of those things, it's gotta be exciting, but you still have to find time to take care of yourself. So that's
Yep.
awesome. And let's when you think about it, it's interesting because for me personally, like mental health is important, but it's awesome that like in NFT world on Discord and Twitter, I feel like for the first time, it's not as taboo as it was before NFTs to talk about it. There's spaces like designed for it. The stuff you're doing, Kumo, she does a lot of that. So,
Mhm.
do you have any thoughts on what makes this space different to be more okay to talk about mental health and other struggles?
I think it's because of obviously the fact that we are so hyper connected in the fact that we always share about pretty much anything. So there's this kind of honesty and unfiltered way of speaking that really I think encourages the fact of sharing vulnerability in a way. And I think that is pretty much related to Twitter in a way because as a digital artist myself coming from a very Instagram background, it's not as easy to share there, for example, everything that you do or post there is a bit more filtered, more polished, more refined and thoughtful. But then on Twitter you have like this space where you're a bit more raw and just like more honest with yourself and others. So I think we can see that in the way people talk about their opinions, what they like, etc., but also about how they feel. And whenever they say that things are too much or that they are taking a break, etc., you can see that there's a pattern there. And I think that for me, it really started everything and really helped me in that process of being more just open about what I'm going through.
Yeah, I mean that's it, it's awesome. It's funny that the and I hadn't thought about it till you mentioned it, but like the perfection of Instagram and the
Yeah.
chaos of Twitter are two very very contradictory concepts, and so it's hard to say like you're suffering when like all your pictures are you at the beach and living the best
Yeah.
life,
Most
and
definitely.
but this allows us to be vulnerable and to be able to have those conversations. So, um, yeah, and recently, I met you through Fan3 and
Yeah.
Ross, and like when you think about kind of just briefly what they're doing, like how exciting is it that like there's so much also attention on mentorship and helping people, like that's also unique to this space where historically there's a lot of like stay away from me, this is my place, etc.
hmm I think it is very interesting, and I think that what Fan3 does and what we do, for example, at Heal the Deal, is very similar in the way that we are teaching each other ways of accepting ourselves, but also developing our practice, our community, and all of the things that basically makes us who we are as creatives and as members of this community. And for me, I think that it's because of the fact that it's not a there's not a school for NFTs or crypto or things like that, and it pretty much reminds me of being a designer. For example, when you go out of school design, you're pretty much alone trying to figure out your prices, your rates, your whatever. It's the same for artists, for musicians, etc. And the fact is that you kind of try to learn things by yourself, but also through others. And that comes with communications. But if we push that aspect further and we really try to make this like a community learning thing, then that's when like mentorship just comes into the horizon, because you kind of want to have that insight from someone else and someone to rely on. And I think that's what Fan3 is going to do very, very well. And this is also what we're aiming to do at a Hill the Deal, but for other reasons. And I'm pretty much excited about just the fact that we are teaching in a way. I love teaching things. For example, I wanted to be a teacher, like a design teacher, when I finished school, and it didn't happen. But I love the fact of having empathy and being able to communicate those values to someone else that is going to be able to communicate these same values to someone else. It's a full circle moment, and I feel like that's what we want in life. It's so exciting to see everything unfolds because of you and others. I don't know, it's just really mesmerizing for me.
I mean, that's awesome, and it is interesting how they are taking a different approach, but it's still a community type of thing. And so when you think of what you've done with Heal the Deal, why don't we
Mhm.
just talk about the three stages and the journey of where we've come in the last a little bit over a year since the initial
Yeah.
drop.
Yeah, actually, yes. So the initial drop was on January 28th of 2021. Wow. Okay, so there's that. Then we have stage 2 that is happening, and then there's a huge gap between like stage 2 and stage 3 right now, and everything is just it's a journey basically. And things in a journey aren't very linear and timed. So that's what happened. And yeah, I mentioned this because I always talk about this project as a journey towards healing, and basically like an odyssey that we are all just navigating through, whether you're involved in Heal the Deer or not, actually. But for me, it's basically the desire of creating something where I belong to and where others will belong to as well and will rely on was super important for me as an artist before everything NFTs basically. And when I entered the NFT community and the crypto art thing and all of that, I just felt really overwhelmed. And I noticed that it wasn't just me, of course, it was everyone. And I noticed certain patterns that were really just putting a stall on people's mental health. And I was like, why are we all just like suffering on our own? Because we're all suffering at the same time, but we just don't talk about it. And sometimes it's just difficult to seek for support or just talk about that to people who are basically foreign to the NFT realm, basically. So I was like, yeah, what if just we create like a support club for that? It's very basic. But I just love communication as a creative process, but as an inspiration. And I think that Heal the Deal is that two path journey where it's like one path is the community journey that we are taking together, where basically we have the Discord, we have the live streams, we have the live chats, where we discuss everything from daily struggles to just support each other on certain emergencies and just have resources for any kind of matter. And then there's the more visual path of the project, which is basically what we do with the stages collections, which is here to just represents the process of healing and the journey of healing and going through the stages of that process with the ups and the downs, and just collect those pieces as reminders of your journey and, as cornerstones, basically. And I don't know, what we're doing with that. Basically, I just want to create something that represents those steps that are very, very important, because when you look back at them, that's when you can see the progress, because when you are just so into your head, you can't see really how far you've come. So just visually representing that is important for me, and I think that the synergy of those two initiatives is really what makes Heal the Deal what it is, I guess.
No, that's incredibly awesome. Just to be, objective and actually talk about some of this stuff, because people do try to hide it, and like it doesn't matter if you're an artist or a collector, and I'm sure like it's probably agnostic, right? There's a lot of people that lose sleep, don't eat, like where they're trying to
Yeah.
flip JPEGs nonstop, and then there's the artists that are struggling, and like to be an artist is to struggle, and
Hmm.
in this space, there's so many artists and so much talent that gets, in some instances, overlooked by apes and koalas and that type of stuff. And so it's probably really interesting that like, uh, very, two types of people can come and have the same issues, although
Yes.
the cause of the problem is the NFTs, but it's very opposite ends of the spectrum. So, do you see in your community that gamut of types of people who are coming in to share kind of what they are going through?
Absolutely. And it's really just so interesting to witness on a daily basis because, for example, when you go on the Discord, you have artists, you have collectors. Because obviously, as you mentioned, the struggle is the same for everyone involved, but in different manners and ways of manifesting. And then we have also people who are very foreign to NFTs, but are just creatives, and they want to learn about NFTs, but like in a safe manner. So they want to try and join the club because they know that we're going to accompany them through their process of like in like being involved into the NFT space, but in a very safe way. And that's our priority. Then we have basically writers, photographers, we have also teenagers, of course, who just stumble across the club. And for me, it's really important that I actually shifted um, the headline of the club from cryptos emotional support club to just metaverses support club, because I want to make sure that we are as inclusive as possible. And I don't want to gatekeep the space to anyone who comes across it. I just want to make them feel safe and secure to just enter this place. So we have every single type of people and just ethnicities, genders, etc. And we try to make them very at ease when they join the club. So we have systems for pronouns, for just how do you call that, like ENFG types and all of that, and then they can put like their astrology, astro signs and all of that. Anyways, just things to make them more comfortable and just more accept just enhance that acceptance of themselves, if that makes sense. Sorry, just
No, it does, and it's also like trying to be, it's agnostic of what it seems like, whatever they're passionate about, or whatever. It was interesting earlier today. I was listening to O'Shiny briefly, and it was, it's hard with letters and numbers to describe what we identify as, what we feel
it
like,
is.
yeah. And so like basically, what what you're trying to do is, if astrology, for instance, is your thing, awesome.
Mhm.
If you know whatever that is, and so that's really awesome that you're trying to. And I think coming from that place is a safer place than like a lot of the other types of areas that we experience these days. So I commend you. Like that's really awesome.
Thank you.
So all right, so when's the drop?
Oh well, well the drop is on Thursday. It's already Tuesday, so I am flabbergasted right now. I am very much under the drain. Um, I have so many things to do, but we are very excited about what's coming. For me, I say it every time, but every news stage is like the best work I've ever did yet, mostly because I am co-creating with Victor Scorano, which is one of my dearest creatives and friends in the absolute universe. Um, and I am just so ecstatic about it because it's obviously these this series of vessels that are basically here for you to settle in. So with the previous stages, we had the booking phase with the memberships, then we had the onboarding stage with the gates, and now we have the settling in stage, which is here basically to bring a sense of belonging and a very special and intimate place for people to just ground themselves in and just imagine themselves into when things are a bit more difficult and you need that space of your own to just feel free to be who you want to be and just get away from life. Sometimes you just need that. And yeah, that's what we are doing. There's several steps in the mechanics that I will reveal more in depth in the next few days. But basically, we have obviously the NFTs to collect. And then on the drawing winners, we will have also a raffle for each piece where people can actually win infinite object version of these pieces. So we have 5 infinite objects that are all custom made. And on these infinite objects on the back, we have a special QR code that leads to a AR version of the vessel. So
Oh
it's a
wow,
very inception process that we are working on right now, but we want to make sure that we dive as deep as possible in the atmosphere and the emotions, so it felt really just natural to do so. So there's that. And then those vessels will lead you somewhere through your journey towards healing, but who knows where? That's another question.
that's awesome. That,
Thank
and I
you.
know, we are pre-launch, and so you are. Some people may be listening to this on Wednesday or Thursday, but you do have an upcoming Spaces. You're going to be,
Yes.
available on Twitter
Yes.
and everywhere over the next 48 hours, and in your Discord. Any final thoughts you want to share with the NFT culture community or anyone else about the drop and seal
Um,
the deal?
Yeah, of course. No, I just wanted to mention that I'm obviously very, very thankful for what we do as an entity, but also grateful for all of our members, but also all of the people who support the club from afar or close. And more than that, I'm just really grateful for other people to just push this initiative, yeah, through other spaces, create other spaces. The fact that we have this club and that I am advocating for that doesn't make it exclusive. And I'm very much happy to see so many people creating Twitter spaces to discuss the topic of mental health, because the more we spread awareness in different mediums, in different spaces, the more it's going to be helpful for the mass, and more accepted to be vulnerable and perhaps develop more empathy within the community, because I know that a lot of people are very empathic in this community and very here to support, but there's also obviously, as everywhere else, people that are lacking that kind of empathy, and because so many factors play into it, but it's just showing sensibility and emotional sensitivity in a way is really important. And the more it's being democratized, the more it's going to be a natural thing in the future for people to get accustomed to. So I'm very grateful for that. And regarding the drop, I am very happy to see you're here. If you want to jump into the journey, you're very welcome. We have obviously holders only pieces, but we have, as per usual, open to all piece, because we don't want to obviously gatekeep anything. So there's that. And if you can't support the drop, you can always just send a message or whatever. uh, you don't have to buy NFTs to support a cause. That's very much what I want to mention. And if you need anything, or if you don't feel like sharing your thoughts into a group with a lot of people around or whatever, no matter how safe it is, just feel free to reach like to my DMs, I will never judge. I will always be super happy to help and just like connect with anyone who is struggling or need some tips and tricks, I'm happy to do that. And what? That's my final thoughts.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I'm
Thank
looking
you.
forward to it, and we'll have to do this again soon.
Yay. Thank you so much, Mal. I really appreciate you. And I am so very proud of what you do as well in NFT culture to just spread awareness about NFTs and all of the variety included into our community. So thank you for that.
Exactly. Hey, come for the PFPs, stay for the art. That's what I always say.
Exactly. Exactly. So
All
thank
right.
you.
All right. Well, you have a good one.
Bye.